Did you know one of the most important things in ancient Egypt wasn't gold or pharaohs, but beer? And they were brewing it over 5,000 years ago using a method that might surprise you. Beer wasn't just a beverage for the Egyptians, it was practically food, medicine, and even payment for workers. Hieroglyphs depict brewing scenes, and residue found in ancient jars confirms its widespread use. But how did they actually make this liquid bread without modern equipment? It all started with grain, usually emmer wheat or barley. The first crucial step was malting. They'd moisten the grains, allowing them to partially sprout. This process, just like today, activated enzymes needed to convert starches into fermentable sugars. Think of it as waking up the grain's potential. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and very different from modern brewing. They didn't just use the malted grain directly. Instead, they baked it into bread. But not just one type. They made two kinds. One batch was lightly baked, preserving the yeast and enzymes needed for fermentation. The other batch was baked longer, sometimes until browned or slightly burnt, adding color and a roasted flavor profile to the final beer. You won't believe how crucial this bread step was. Next came the mashing. These different bread loaves were crumbled up. Imagine breaking apart dense ancient bread and mixed with water in large ceramic vats. This created a sugary liquid mash called wort. Sometimes they'd add flavorings at this stage. Forget hops. The Egyptians used dates, honey, or herbs to add sweetness or complexity. Can you imagine the unique taste? Then came fermentation. How did they get the bubbles without controlled yeast strains? The lightly baked bread carried wild yeasts from the air and the grain itself, similar to how sourdough starters work. They'd let this bread and water mixture sit, covered, allowing these natural yeasts to feast on the sugars, producing alcohol and carbon dioxide. This wasn't a quick process, taking several days in those iconic Egyptian clay jars. Finally, the resulting brew needed finishing. It was thick, almost like a porridge or gruel, full of bread bits and grain solids. So they'd strain it through cloth or sieves to separate the liquid beer from the solids. The leftover mash wasn't wasted. It was likely eaten. So what was this ancient Egyptian beer actually like? Forget your crisp, clear lager. This was a thick, cloudy, nutritious beverage, likely low in alcohol content, maybe only 2 to 3%, and probably slightly sour due to the wild yeasts. It was less an intoxicating drink and more a fundamental part of their daily diet, providing calories, vitamins, and hydration. It truly was liquid bread. From sprouting grain to baking specific bread loaves and relying on wild fermentation. The ancient Egyptians developed a sophisticated brewing process thousands of years ago. It fueled a civilization and shows incredible ingenuity using just basic ingredients and natural processes. So next time you enjoy a cold one, remember its incredibly long and fascinating history, starting on the banks of the Nile.